Well, 'tis the season, everyone, for another collection tour. Yes, my collection tour, the holiday special. Over 300 figures with some statues mixed in, believe it or not. I can't wait to show you what we have in store, so stick around. That's coming up next. Well, everyone, we are here for the holiday special of the collection room. Now, we're going to get into that in just a quick second, but as always, I did not get what I wanted for Christmas. I am not getting the subscribers that I had hoped for. So this is your opportunity. If you have not done so already, go ahead, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and let you know when new videos are going to drop. But that's enough of me. Let's get into the collection. Let's take another look at my collection. As of right now, we're kind of sitting over 300 pieces, so I know that is a lot to cover, and I'm not going to cover each piece in detail today. I know if you've seen one collection, you've pretty much seen them all. So what I'm going to do is highlight kind of my favorite pieces as well as my new pieces that have been added since the last time. If there's anything in here that I've glossed over and you wish you had a little more insight into, I have a bunch of different collection videos on my channel, so feel free to check them out. But we're going to be looking at the new additions as well as some of the highlights. But speaking of new additions, as far as the display goes, one of the things you may notice are some of these little bit of black stripping covering up the LEDs. Now, this is literally just the same pieces that I've used on my weather stripping, and I put those over the LEDs to try to help reduce the glare. Not a perfect setup, but it does the job. I also went ahead and added 2 additional DTOFs, as you can see, and they fit right here. Moved a couple other pieces out that I'll show you in a minute into the other room. And then I just kind of put a black curtain behind each one of them to kind of give it a little more of a professional aesthetic to where everything really pops. Now, starting here with the Mark 85 Battle Damage, this is going to be the Marvel section. And as I said, I'm just going to highlight some of my favorite pieces. If you've seen one of these, you've probably seen a lot of these before. Some of these figures are not new, but this one specifically is new. This is the Whiplash Mark II, and I think together, this one being a great diecast figure, it looks awesome next to the Mark I as well as Ironmonger. Now here is the Hulkbuster. You've seen that multiple times, Gladiator Hulk, Gladiator Thor, but here are a few more Iron Man pieces as well as one of my favorites, the Mark 46, the Battle Damage. I love that Tony head with the bruising on the eye. Moving over here, you do have your in-game pieces, the Mark 85, Rescue, Thor, Captain America, all those good old pieces. But I don't give a lot of love down here, that being one of my Neon Tech figures, and one of the only ones I actually have and I actually like, the Neon Tech 50 with Nanotech Tony Stark down there. Here's our Wakanda shelf with Killmonger, here's Shuri, as well as the movie Black Panther and T'Chaka. Not a bad little shelf. Moving over here, we do have some Spider-Men from across the Spider-Verse. Nothing really much has changed here other than the pose, but there is the Scarlet Spider, one of my favorites. But this shelf did change quite a bit, starting with the Stealth Suit Captain America, the 2.0 that was very hard to come by. Only 300 were made at Sideshow. I had to make a deal on eBay for mine. There's the Solo Black Widow film. And then I took the head from that Captain America and put it on this civilian Steve Rogers and took the old sculpt and put it away. I think it's quite a nice upgrade. So overall, I think this shelf is looking pretty good. Happy with that one. Moving down here is a figure I did not expect to actually like, but I got it from Rick's Comic City for 30% off. Captain Carter. Really, really good, and that is in my top 10. Now here's another figure that I ran down recently that I've been wanting, the rooted hair version of the Winter Soldier Black Widow. I think she looks great with those other Avengers and Nick Fury. Now here's another great shelf with White Vision. I love that figure. I upgraded my other Vision, and you can see here is Wanda and the Ultron Mark I. Not a bad little shelf as well. Here is everyone's favorite Civil War Wanda, but here's some 2 pieces that I've added that I really, really like. These are from Zensation, that being Caecilius, and this one I think is from TB Toys, that being the Ancient One. Hot Toys never made these, but they are great accessory companion pieces to the Doctor Strange shelf, and I think they look great. I did add the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Shout out to Man of Hot Collectibles for hooking me up with those. Here is the Winter Soldier Bucky. Not a lot of people like that figure, but I kind of do. Went ahead and added a shield to that one. Not much has changed here. We did go ahead and kind of repose some of the Spider-Men. Do like that. And this is still one of my favorite shelves. I think Mysterio looks awesome here in that nice little pose, as well as that Molten Man base. Really like that. Moving over here is a figure that is definitely in my top 10, the Susu Toy Kingpin, or the Boss Man, as well as Cajun Card Dealer, aka Gambit, Taskmaster, and the Netflix Daredevil and Punisher. Really, really love that. Kingpin makes it look awesome. Here's the Thor shelf. You've seen these before, not much new. Got the Johnny Depp and the pirate characters. Really love all those. Not much has changed on that either. And once again, more spider shelf. Went ahead and moved Doc Ock down there. Over here, I admit this is not the best setup. A little crowded, but running out of room. We'll figure that out. But here are some new pieces. Went ahead and got the 2020 Spider-Man. I think he looks awesome. I'm sorry, the Miles Morales in the 2020 suit. Got that USB light-up cable. I went ahead and plugged that right in so it turns on with the lights, and it looks awesome. Here is the Hot Rod Iron Man figure. Love the paint on that one. I've always liked that figure ever since I had it as a Marvel Legend. But here are some show stealers. The reissue of the Mark I War Machine. Love this piece. Absolutely mammoth figure, as well as everyone's favorite, the Mark VI. Love that from Iron Man 2. And there's the Mark II. Speaking of. So that's going to kind of be it as far as what I've added for the Marvel shelf on this side. But I'll show you a few other things. There's Baby Groot. There's Yondu, one of everyone's favorite with that head sculpt. And I really do like all these pieces. Repose Star-Lord a little bit. But speaking of Deadpool, I went ahead and added a couple different pieces. With that being said, let me go ahead and show that to you here in this new frame. You'll see Dusty Deadpool down there, but on top we do have some Men in Black with Frank the Pug. I think these are cool. I love the egg chairs. They're fantastic. But here's a few more Marvel characters. We have Dusty Deadpool. I didn't think I was going to own this originally, but he looks awesome, especially when you have him next to Logan. There's President Loki. So overall, I think that's a nice little display as well. Moving down here is a figure I did not think I would own, but here we are, and that is the Venomized Iron Man. Little out on that one still, not for sure how I feel, but still happy to have it, and a little bit of Squid Game mixed in there. So, moving over here is another exclusive. This is the D23 Spider-Man with the churro, yes. So I went ahead and added that next to the official Stan Lee. That was one of the pieces I was missing and I'm glad I picked up, and he is holding the churro. So we got Stan Lee, and then a huge piece. This is the infamous Dark Star, I think, which is Cole Obsidian and Ebony Maw to complete the Black Order, which I think look awesome. And there is the life-size child filling in that little section, but we'll get to Star Wars in a minute. But that is the Marvel shelf. Lots of different pieces that have been added recently. I think they look awesome. What's your favorite? Let me know down below. Now, there has been a resurgence of Game of Thrones in my collection, especially with House of the Dragon really kicking off. I was able to add a few new pieces, one of them from 3.0, that being Ser Jorah, which I feel like they're getting better. But you cannot compete with these Zensation pieces with Grey Worm and Ser Davos. You can see them next to the 3.0 head sculpt. I mean, they are far superior. And speaking of being far superior, look at another Zensation piece here, this being Tywin Lannister. I love this figure. And when you put him with the rest of the Lannisters, I think they look pretty darn good. Not bad at all. Here is a little bit of Stark love with Eddard back there, as well as Lady Sansa, Arya, and that terrible Daenerys. Looking forward to the Eddard version of that. But continuing on with this 80 and nostalgia aesthetic, here are some Michael Jackson pieces. You know how I feel about him, as well as I feel about this figure. One of my favorites, the Billie Jean, extremely limited, hard to find. Love that. And speaking of hard to find again, what a perfect segue, the Blitzway Ghostbusters. Here they are in all their glory. Still waiting on that Ecto-1. I do need to add that eventually. Working on it. But here's some clowns in Batman. This is probably my favorite Joker sculpt that they did, the Mime Joker. But there's the Keaton Batman. Everyone's waiting on the reissue, as well as the Nicholson Joker. And paired him with Pennywise. And I think it looks pretty good. Here's some Dark Knight figures. You've seen those. Nothing else has changed. I do not have the DX19. I still have the original. But this one's for you, Will, if you're watching. Here is Gizmo. Let's give him a feature. This is a Metacom prop replica, which I love, as well as some 3-0 Transformers. We'll show some Transformers in a second. Some Darksaber action. But speaking of 3-0, check out these. These are the hazmat suit Breaking Bad pieces of Saul and Walt. Jesse and Walt, rather. But these are awesome. There's the originals back there, and you can just see that these are quite the upgrade. I love these things and what they came with. They really pop on the shelf. Love all the accessories that came with, and that yellow suit just pops. Here we have the Dark Knight Joker, the original, the 2.0, rather. Waiting on my ones from InArt, as well as the Joaquin Joker, the Suicide Harley. I think she looks great. But here are some awesome nostalgia pieces. Check it out, Back to the Future. There's the new Doc Brown that everyone was up in arms about, but I am happy to have him. I think he looks great. There's Einstein with the stopwatch. It's a Back to the Future shelf. Can't complain. Just waiting on my DeLorean to ship. That is next. Now, we've shown these turtles before. You got the original turtles, but I picked up some bad guys to go with them. Very elusive, hard to get, but the 3-0 Bebop and Rocksteady, as you can see. Here's Donnie and Raph, as well as Rocksteady. I do need the new version of Raph. That's the only one I don't have. But there is Rocksteady, and I just showed you Bebop. But those are massive figures. They're awesome. Had to run those down. Certainly glad to add them. But speaking of adding, these are some awesome pieces. The DLX premium format versions of the Transformers, Optimus and Megatron from 3-0. These are about 22, 21 inches, and as you can see, they are mammoths. But man, this is some of 3-0 at its best. Love these things. The color of Optimus just pops. That is my favorite aesthetic for Optimus. Yes, I loved the version 2, but there's the nostalgia shelf. Let's move over to Star Wars with something I didn't think I was going to own. I've been pretty specific that I wasn't going to add additional vehicles, but when Rick's Comic City has 30% off of everything in stock, you of course add a Blurg. And I was getting a Blurg originally with Queel, so I thought, but I just went ahead and grabbed this because I couldn't beat the price, and it's a pretty cool looking figure. Now, let's look at some pretty cool looking figures with some of the newest recent additions, that being Hunter and Echo from the Bad Batch, as well as the throne version of Boba Fett. These are exceptional pieces. Those Bad Batch figures are going to be something special, especially once the rest of them come out. Those are fire. Quarter scale Vader, which you've seen, the Rancor, which you've seen, but overall, really nice pieces. But here are some of my favorites in the entire collection. As you know, Anakin, but check out Wolves, check out Fives, check out Echo and their clone armors. These are from Sideshow. The extremely hard to get set, but I have them and happy to add them with Commander Skywalker flanking them. I think they look great. Love all the Hayden sculpts. Went ahead and moved Luke down here and took off his cloak and gave him his kind of Return of the Jedi look where he's introspecting. Here is Boba Fett from the 2-pack, as well as the Sideshow exclusive Bossk with the snarling head sculpt. I do like that. It's another limited release. Happy to have it. And here's some figures I did not think I was going to add. I've actually sold them and bought them back. That being Resistance Rey, Old Man Luke Skywalker, with the Rise of Skywalker, Rey, and Kylo. They don't look too bad. I was finally able to get a Jawa. Been waiting on that for a minute. There is Sir Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan. Everyone loves that head sculpt. Not too bad at all, if I say so myself. Moving up here, we moved the Emperor and the Royal Guard to that shelf because I moved something out, which I'll show you. Here is our Snow Troopers, which are highly desired, with Snowspeeder Luke Skywalker, as well as Hoth Leia. And I think she looks pretty good. Waiting on that Bespin Escape Leia, but we'll go from there. And here is the favorite figure in the collection, Darkside Anakin. Everybody knows that, no secret. I've said it multiple times. But there's that sleeper Attack of the Clones Yoda, as well as Kenobi, which people don't like, but people wish they had. So there's those pieces. Here's Ahsoka, as well as a 332nd clone. How do you feel about Ahsoka? Do you like this version? Are you waiting for another one? There's Rex,
There is Skywalker, General Skywalker. But here's something I did. I went ahead and added Han to this shelf with Leia and went for a nice romantic pose because Chewie is with some stormtroopers, which I'll show you, but there's Leia and Boba Fett. Here is Moff Gideon, as well as the Dark Trooper. I didn't think I'd like the Dark Trooper, but I actually do. I wish it had USB power to light it up, but other than that, it does look pretty good. And here is your typical Mando, Heavy Mando, IG-11. Always love these figures, and always will. But not bad. But going down here are some new additions as well. We have Axe Wolves, we have Bo-Katan, as well as a Death Watch. Bo-Katan, as I've said in a real review, is very hard to pose. She's very rigid. She's not bad. And there is the animated Boba Fett. And I think he just fits perfectly in that shelf, so why not? Moving on up here, we have Clone Wars Maul, as well as Solo Maul, Repose, the Coruscant Guard. But yeah, that's just the DX-16 head on top of the body, because I didn't like the other look to it. But the Solo Maul, I think, is superior. Love that in every way. But here are some really cool pieces that I'm glad to have added. This are the Toy Fair exclusive Han and Luke Stormtrooper with a custom Harrison Ford head. I don't know if I want to keep that one or swap out the smirk. We're still thinking through that. But between that with Leia and Chewie, man, I think they look awesome. And here is a Grail piece that I'd been chasing. It was on my 2022 holiday hunt list. That being the Death Star Gunner. I finally got it in the collection. And with Grand Moff Tarkin, a Stormtrooper, and one of my favorite Vaders, that's a pretty darn good shelf as well. Not bad. Moving down here are just a bunch of extra troopers. Nothing really special there. But moving up here, I did add another piece I was chasing, that being the Jedha Patrol Stormtrooper with that white pauldron. I think he looks pretty good, especially with the Scarif Troopers and Shore Troopers. They look pretty good. Got all three of those, the Grunt, the Commander, and the Squad Leader. They all look pretty good. Here is Orson Krennic, underrated head sculpt, but one of the best, as well as the exclusive Death Trooper specialist that comes with the little doll. You know, that doll sells for a lot itself. Moving up here is the rest of the Rogue One figures with the Imperial Disguise Jyn, as well as the Deluxe Jyn, Chirrut, which is a slept-on figure as well as the Hover Tank Pilot, and K2. And I really like that Hover Tank Pilot. I like it. Love the aesthetic. Moving over here, we have the DX-16 Darth Maul, as well as Qui-Gon. Don't get a lot of love for Qui-Gon around here. Here's a Plo Koon that I have. This is from Sideshow. It actually came in a bundle. When I got the Echo and Fives, he sent that with it. Here is Endor Luke, Endor Leia, as well as Wicket. Moving down here, we have Jango Fett. This is the new Hot Toys version. I did get rid of my Sideshow version. A really crappy pose on Count Dooku, and I know everyone likes that figure. I'm not 100% sure that's the best head sculpt, but y'all can fight me in the comments later. Here is the DX7 with custom head on that. But that's the Star Wars shelf. A lot of new additions, a lot of new pieces I've been running down, but have finally added. But I did want to say, I just recently started using 303 wipes on my figures. Anything that is rubber, pleather, anything you worry about flaking or creasing, I went ahead and started using that, and it actually works. It gives it a nice shine. It looks like it's going to stay alive, so anything that you worry about cracking or peeling, go ahead and throw some 303 protectant on there and enjoy your figures once again. 303, it actually works. So here are the statues, and as I've said, I have been getting into this recently, and it is a big real estate consumption. And as you can see, I am out of room. Went a little crazy with some of my statues, but I did want to highlight some of them, that being this PCS Venom, very limited run, but just look at this thing. It is so massive. I detailed this in a statue showcase before where I talked about that and Carnage, but here is Asajj. She looks great as well. I like the way the light is hitting it. Well done by me. LOL, love that base. But here is a piece that means a lot to me. This is the Pure Arts Michael Jackson from Smooth Criminal, and this piece is pretty sweet. It does have a music box that, as you can see, lights up based on the sound. That's just me snapping, and if you want to go ahead and play music with it, it is in sync. There is Ahsoka quarter scale. Oh man, look at that, Michael. Just wanted to show it again. Very cool. Here is the General Kenobi, which is a year old officially. My wife got that for me for Christmas last year and started me down this statue tunnel. Here is Malik from XM Studios, as well as probably my favorite Vader that I have out of anything, even the Hot Toys. Here's the LED lightsaber, but this is the premium format quarter scale Vader on that base with Darth Revan from XM Studios. I have that with the set. There's Darth Sidious. Not a bad figure at all, or statue rather. And then the first statue I got that started me down the hole, Darth Maul. Love that. But that is it. That is my collection to date. So let's give me some final thoughts and get out of here.
Well, that's going to do it for us here today. I hope you enjoyed everything that we looked at today. Let me know down below, what is your favorite piece and what should I be doing next? As you can see, I'm out of room. So what are we going to do? Let me know. Are you interested in Maju cases? Are you Maju spaces? Whatever you want to call it. Is that something I should consider? Let me know. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. And as always, stay safe, happy holidays, and I will see you in our next video.